Hey guys, I know it has been a long few weeks, but we are finally finished with our very first novel of the school year and your guys' very first novel of your high school career. And I wanted to make a video kind of walking through what our exam for the Call of the Wild is going to look like. So it's not on there as I'm recording this, but by the time I'm done, you should see the document that is on my screen right now on Google Classroom. Okay. So the main purpose of this video is kind of two different things. I wanted to tell you or show you guys what your exam is going to look like and kind of helpful sort of like a guide of how to approach this exam because our exam is going to be written based, not multiple choice or anything like that. Okay. So I wanted to first talk about what our exam is going to look like. So come test day, and you can find all of this information in this same document. You are going to be given a prompt, which is in the form of a question about the book. So we talked a little bit about answering questions and stuff like that in the last assignment that you guys did for me, the CEI response. And we're going to use some of those same techniques in the structure of CEI and apply it to the question that you're going to see on your exam. So I am going to give you these three A, B, and C, these three questions to you guys. And you are going to answer one of those questions in a multi paragraph CEI response. So, what does multi paragraph CEI mean? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. But I wanted to tell you guys that even though that I'm giving you three, only one of them is going to appear on your exam. So that means you have to prepare for all three of these questions because one of them is going to end up on your exam. All right. So you don't just want to prepare and collect evidence for the question for A. You don't want to just prepare and collect evidence for question B. And the same goes for C. Because if you only prepare for one of them, what's going to happen to you whenever you sit down in front of the test and letter A pops up and we didn't prepare for letter A? Okay. So make sure that you prepare for all three of them, that you collect enough evidence, and that we're ready to go to finish our exam for the Call of the Wild. Okay. So you will have access to this document. Make sure that you look at these three questions and that we're able to tackle them or that we're ready to tackle them come test day. Again, you are not doing three multi paragraph responses. You are only doing one of them, but you don't know which one I'm going to ask you come test day. That's why you have to prepare for all three. So there's that. So, what is a multi-paragraph CEI? Well, I'm going to go back into the document that we took a look at the other day. CEI, of course, stands for claim, evidence, and inference. I gave you guys a sample one, okay? So we finished up chapter 7, the class period before this, all right? And I walked you through what my claim to this above question would be. And I gave some textual evidence to support it. And then I ended with an inference. That's all fine and dandy. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if we didn't have these boxes here, if we were just to like write them out, and I could probably do it for you right now, if we were to just simply write these out like we normally would, it would be in the appearance of just like a normal written paragraph. Oh, I did something wrong. Going to copy, going to put it down here. Okay. So it's looking like just like a normal just paragraph. Okay. So don't let those boxes like kind of trip you up or anything like that. We only put them in boxes so we know for sure that we were writing a claim. We know for sure that we were writing textual evidence, and we knew for sure that we were including an inference. Okay. So basically, for a normal CEI, we would just write what looks to be one paragraph. Okay. It's a pretty good sized paragraph. But for our test, what we got to do is make sure that we have something called a multi-paragraph CEI. So more than one of these CEI responses. Okay. So what does a multi-paragraph CEI look like? Okay. It actually, guys, should not look too much different from what your first smaller CEI looked like whenever we did our first one the other day. Okay. Uh, Essentially, we are just adding more than one claim. Okay. So you're going to be given a question, and as you guys know, the very first sentence that we say in our CEI is our answer or our claim to that question. Okay. So for this paragraph, this first sentence was my claim, was my answer to the question up here. In a multi-paragraph CEI, essentially what we're doing, guys, is that we are just adding another claim. Okay. So we write about our first one in our first paragraph. We're going to start a second paragraph and do a second claim. All right. And you're going to do provide evidence for that second claim and end on an inference for that second claim as well. Okay. So what would this look like for like an actual question? Well, I've given you guys some examples. So I have the question up here on my screen. Why does Buck embrace his wild nature in the Call of the Wild? Again, this is not one of your three options that are going to come test time, but I wanted to provide a sample to you guys. So let's pretend for a second that this is my test question. All right. Highlighted in green. Well, I think about that and I start to think that there are multiple reasons why Buck embraces his wild side. Okay. And I actually, in this document, have them listed for you here. All right. So uh, let's say that I am writing just a one paragraph CEI. Okay. I would probably only write about this claim, the one that's highlighted right now. So it would look, I would take that claim, I would provide evidence for it, and then I would end on an inference. Well, that's the case if it's one CEI, all right? So what am I going to add for a multi-paragraph one? Well, in that second paragraph for this question, I would just talk about another claim, all right? So I'd go down to number 2, all right, as another reason why Buck embraces his wild side, okay? Then I would do the same thing, all right? So if you want a visual, all right, so paragraph 1. So paragraph 1, you would start off with first claim plus evidence plus inference. All right. Then I got to do paragraph 2, which is my second claim, which is the one up here. Plus evidence plus inference. And it would do the same thing for paragraph 3. Okay. Third claim, which again is the third claim here, plus evidence, plus inference. Right? So that's why I told you guys, do not worry about a multi-paragraph CEI, because you are essentially doing the same thing that we did the other day, and we're just doing it again, all right, in response to the same question. All right. So, what I would do in preparation for this exam, all right, is to look at all three questions and start to generate or start to kind of brainstorm multiple claims that you can have for that question. Okay. For example, if you look at letter A, how does Jack London illustrate his theme that only the strongest survive? All right. So I'm thinking, what happens in the story that kind of demonstrates that theme? There are a lot of things, guys, in the book that demonstrate the theme, only the strongest survive. Okay. So one way that he illustrates it can be the claim in my first paragraph. And then just a second and third way that he demonstrates that theme are going to be the subject of your second and third paragraphs. Okay. You're going to do the same thing for B and C. Okay. Again, just brainstorm multiple claims. All right. And those claims, they're going to be the subject of how many paragraphs you decide to write. Which brings me to my last point. I get it every year. Whenever you say multi paragraph, does that mean just two and I'm done? I will tell you guys this. I have read CEIs that are 7 paragraphs long that are awesome, and I've read 7 paragraph CEIs that are terrible. Okay? I have read 3 paragraph CEIs that are awesome, and I've read 3 paragraph CEIs that are terrible. Okay? So what I'm saying is you got to make sure that how much we write actually answers the question that's on the test. Okay. It comes down to how good your evidence is, how good your inferences are. Okay. So don't get hung up on how many paragraphs, focus on the quality of those paragraphs. Okay. Uh, so that is my advice when it comes to how long it should be. A lot of you guys I know, you're thinking, oh, I can probably just write 2 and get away with it. Again, I've read a lot of really good 2 paragraph ones, but I've also read a ton of really bad ones, okay? The more that you write, the chances are that you are going to eventually answer the question really well, okay? So that's what I'll say. So I would, for this first one, I would aim for 3 paragraphs, although it does not have to be 3. It can be more than 3, or if you want to kind of gamble and just go for 2, that's your prerogative. Okay. So that is what our test, and that is essentially what all of our tests in English are going to be once we finish a book. All right. I'm going to give you a question, I'm going to give you a prompt, and you are going to write your answer out. Making great claims, providing great evidence, and making awesome inferences. Okay. So this document is going to be on Google Classroom. I'm not exactly sure what date the test is going to be. Hopefully, I'll figure that out within the next day or so. And of course, I'll let you guys know. We do not have school on Wednesday, November 11th because of Veterans Day. So our testing will have to do how much we need to prepare before then. So it might be before Wednesday, it might be after Wednesday as well. Okay. So if you have any questions in the meantime, guys, please let me know. Hopefully this video was helpful to you in kind of thinking about what a multi-paragraph essay or CEI can look like. And if you have any questions, please let me know. All right. Have a good one.